Hello, everyone. For now, I'm just muting everybody that's being loud right now so that we can have a little bit more peace during the call. Great. Awesome. Okay. Hello, hello. Thanks for the announcement, Bernard, by the way. Amazing. Okay. 7 p.m., 1 minute. Perfect. Hello, everybody on the Twitter Spaces. We're just getting started. Good morning for everyone. I'll mute my server notifications real quick so we don't get any of that. And I think I'm getting ready to go. Welcome, everyone, to another community call. I have one instant note for everyone. It's Hannah, our favorite person and community genius, has been on leave for a week. So, Brenda, could you please go? Whoa. Okay, you're muted. Perfect. That was disturbing. Anyway, so Hannah's been on sick leave, and I've tried my best to put together with a little bit of help from team as well as possible, but it's obviously not the same without her. So forgive me if we have hiccups. I did plan on the content of this and the agenda. I did plan that pretty well, so we're gonna have fun with that. But the rest, like the POAP drop, the everything might be a little more chaotic than it usually is. Okay, so let's get started. I think a little bit of forward for today is also, again, welcome. Can you not? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Our forward for today is just a little bit of, well, first of all, warm welcome for everyone, but also for new listeners or new community members, thank you so much for joining in and hopping in on the Guild community call bandwagon or train. We just left our token gating Discord and connecting Discord with Ethereum status as Guild as a tool and converted ourselves into more of a infrastructure for platform memberships. We had a big launch last week, so we're very excited to continue that flow and talking about it, all the integrations and everything that's been happening. So essentially, with all the new features that have came up in the recent 1 week that we had them live, the Twitter integration, the Google, the GitHub, everything that you guys know, and all the guild quests that you've been embarking on to become a guild grower and the guild maxi. I brought some takeaways from that, and I thought it would also be very interesting to kind of have more of an inside view of what the launch felt like and what type of bugs we encountered and all the weird problems that we never thought we would come across. Like, okay, I'll get into it. So I brought some interesting hurdles, some improvements, and what we've been working on in the past week. And we're also going to talk about a little bit about the quest and some community updates along those lines. And then I'm going to summarize a little bit the state of the launch so you guys are on the same page. We know what's happening and how it's been going, where our weaknesses so far, strengths, and stuff like that. So this is a revolutionary community call. So far, I've never done this. I prepared slides. Slides in, with the purpose that I'm hosting this alone today. And as much as I love talking, I also wanted you guys to see something. So I put together a tiny bit of a slideshow, which I'm going to share my screen right now so you guys can see. For community call number 8. Okay, let's dig into it. So I'll start with the community side of things. So last week, we started our first ever Guild Quest with the new integrations. It was a little bit messy. It was fun. It was great. The Guild bot did some unspeakable actions of kicking everybody from the Guild Maxi Telegram group for not updating the requirements in their Twitter names and Twitter bios. So we tried the Guild bots battle tested that it's a hardcore kicker if people don't satisfy the requirements. So that was an interesting experience. Excuse me. Thanks. Okay. Can you please mute yourself once again if you're joining because it's terribly off-putting to do that way. Also, I think I'm gonna. Anyway, we would do a stage which would be safer for the muting scenario, but then I can't share my screen, and I really like showing you guys things, so it's a sacrifice that we have to make. So yes, please keep yourself muted if we're not at the question part. Yes. So more on the community side. So it was very fun to test this quest out with you guys, and a lot of you came along with the journey. I think there's around 700 or 800 people in the guild grower role, and about I think 200 remained in the guild maxi role. But in the Telegram chat, there's only 52 of us, I think, which has been a blast. I'm loving that group. So shout out to all the guild maxis that are here that we're chatting there. It's been very friendly, very cozy, very nice experience to have that chat group with you guys. Yes, I've been changing the requirements for the guild maxis. I only changed it once, and as part of the quest this week as well, I don't just want to keep being very boring and changing up what you should put in your Twitter name, Twitter bio, or what document you gain access to. I kind of want to be more spicy, and I also want to involve more partners in this quest, and so that we can demonstrate the whole spectrum of experiences that Guild can provide for these communities and your communities and what it feels like firsthand. So the Guild quest this week is calming down. I really want to provide like a valued experience for you guys. So we're not having a new task this week, just as a disclaimer. I'll let you know beforehand if we have a new requirement, so don't you worry. But I'll also keep you posted async when we don't have a community call exactly on that day, and you'll have time to catch up with the requirements. But next week, be on the lookout for new requirements if you're on the quest with us in the Guild quest. Also, the first ever thing that happened is that JokeDAO, we did a joke race last Friday, which was super fun. I think like 200 of you came for the event. I was just very casually talking with N from Wonderverse, who's my buddy in JokeDAO as well. And we've been just casually playing the joke race. But the joke race this week was Guild XYZ themed. So every joke submission was about Guild. And it's been a mess and a half, and I loved every meme. The Guild Maxis popped off, and we had so many interesting memes that I really want to show you guys. I'm also going to share them in my meme channel so we can keep them longer. But yeah, I just wanted to show you. So I think I have the link here so we can go to the joke contest. Okay, I have to connect my wallet real quick. Ooh, I might not want to share my screen for this part. One sec. Ooh. Okay. So while I'm typing my password, which is, I have to tell you, not an easy experience while I'm talking, but I did it. Okay, great. I'm coming back with my screen. So the joke race. This was the very first actual utility that we saw that not only the Guild community used the new quest features, so like the new integrations have been heavily utilized in making this a thing last Friday with JokeDAO. How to use the new Guild integrations is that every participant who wanted to receive voting tokens had to put JokeDAO Maxi, this like text, these two words, in their Twitter bio. With this, they gained access to a guild on Guild XYZ, which was a Jokedel Maxi Guild, which was a token gated or, Jokedel Maxi Twitter bio gated Telegram channel where everybody who entered through Guild's functionality, we could export everybody's wallet addresses, and everybody who entered, therefore they were Guild Maxis, received an airdrop of 690 joke voting tokens so that they could participate in the event on Friday. Joke races always happen as in there are live events of half an hour every Friday where we vote and form groups and kind of just like vote for the best joke. But this week, the third one had to win. That was the rule. And this way, you really have to strategize with your team. But okay, so utilizing Guild for this was really, really fun. It was the first big showcase of the new integrations and how that can work in reality in other communities, not just Guild. And the memes that I wanted to show you. So I think this first one was really funny. That how it's in relation to what happened last week with the you had to put the castle emoji in your Twitter name instead of your Twitter bio. That was the new requirement to remain a Guild Maxi, and it was a traumatic event. There was also a GIF that was about the same thing. The text saying at the bottom that I wrote in the Guild Maxi chat that the next quest step is only going to be next week, so we can chill out until then. And then I'm rugging everybody because I'm bored as fuck on the weekend. So that was the second one. The third one, which this one won, is the rock meme of being castle emoji being a requirement for marriage, and it was really funny. But one of my favorites is probably this old lady one, where the guild bot is checking to see if you're still a Jokedel Maxi, and it's kind of accurate and really cute. Yes. So that was, how can I? Yes. Okay. That was the joke race. And I'm really happy that the Jokedel decided to have us as guests for that Friday, because every Friday is a different guest. But moving on. So I'm going to run over to the cool, interesting bugs and hurdles that we encountered in the past week or two. That I think were very unexpected, and maybe you guys will have some fun of it, or just as like good food for thought, or look out if you're also a builder. So the first one, it was, okay, so just a forward for this, the third-party platforms that you try to integrate with, which is a heavy part of what Guild is doing right now with our SDK and like pulling all these APIs together, they are the biggest headache because, well, they're usually big corporations and or they are not prepared with their access management too well in their APIs. And also composability is not always a priority in these companies. So for example, with Telegram, what happened is that Telegram shadow bans .xyz domains because historically these domains have been used for a lot of spamming before it was hype and cool in Web3. Before that, XYZ domains were like not good. So if you use these XYZ domains, Telegram just doesn't answer you. And if you're like, programmatically doesn't answer you and you can't use it at all. So we encountered one of these bugs. It was very frustrating because, Telegram, guild gating Telegram groups works one day and then the next day you're shadow banned, and we had to figure that out, and it was kind of crazy. But so with that, we have a new improvement on Guild, which is kind of like a little pop-up window for new users who are authenticating their first Telegram account on Guild, kind of like a pop-up, and you connect your browser and your Telegram on this for the first time. It's pretty smooth, but it could look suspicious to some people, but just to assure you, that's just us. We had to have this redirecting workaround to send you to Telegram with a non-XYZ domain so that Telegram can work really, really smoothly for you, because user experience is top priority. Okay, second one, second gigantic corporations API that we had to work with and try to hack around or work around is Twitter. The new Twitter integration that we have, we're checking emojis and letters or word strings in Twitter bios, Twitter names, and we're also checking followings, who follows who. And the thing with this is that it's working really well, but the Twitter API has a very short limit of it only lets 15 requests through their API to be checked every 15 minutes. So it's a super tiny window. It's like they give you their pinky, you want their arm or like their whole left side, and they're only giving you their pinky with this request reply. This is terrible UX. It would be ruining our UX as well. And the alpha testers or the early testers in our server gave very good advice on this. And with them, that's when we figured out that this is an issue. And this was really, really hard to solve. But now it's working. I don't want to go into like the very specific technical details, but we found a workaround. It's working. It's nice. But it was very interesting to kind of find out the inner workings of these gigantic mega companies. And I don't know, like try to find solutions. It's a very good strategic math problem to solve, kind of. Yes. Okay. Third one. It's not a bug. It's just Google. So obviously, out of the other three or the three that I'm mentioning here, Google is probably the biggest giant. And anyone who tried anything with Google documentation before knows how big of a pain and an endless loop working with that is. And they were very responsive, to be fair. Like, kudos to them for answering our emails and authentication requests really fast. But we were stuck between, so we had to authorize ourselves as Guild team, as Guild, to be able to interact with the API and interact with the access management as we need to provide this service through Guild. And somehow, with the legal and like all the processes that they had for this authorization, we got stuck between two of them, like two steps. It was so random. And we reached out to them so many times to move either backwards so we can move forwards easier, or just like move us forward so we can escape this loop. But yeah, so they were fairly responsive, but it was really, really hard to become a trusted party with Google. And our brave team fought with like 40 open tabs to find out how to solve this issue, but it's finally solved and it's perfect. Well, not perfect, but it's working fine. So that was I'm saying very a lot. Drink every time I'm saying very. It's a good drinking game. Yes, so that was interesting. Moving on to what else? These were like the big ones. These were the funny, well, to me it was funny and also very painful, unexpected issues, not necessarily bugs, but issues with the APIs that we worked with. But previous week we had little fixes or improvements. So previous week we did some extra care for nouns. We added support for then metadata for gating, because nouns is a special one. Just so you know, so we have the query engine that queries the blockchain and everything that's on there. But with metadata that you have with NFTs, a lot of the times, especially with utility NFTs, or in the nouns case, not the utility, but the actual traits of the NFT, they're usually off-chain. And a lot of different projects or OpenSea, they decide on different places to store this metadata. And it's ridiculously hard to get that back. It's not as smooth as on-chain things are. And so nouns is especially an interesting one in that case, because anyway. So we had to add support for the nouns metadata specifically. That was a little improvement. And then, sorry, someone's racing outside. So what I can also show you though, finally, is that we did two minor / very important UX improvements in the add role section, because yes. So what we did there, I'm going to show you in one sec, is that we improved the nomenclature and added an extra button. But it was so missing whenever we went through the user flow. Adding a reward when you're adding a new role was a little bit more convoluted, or not as straightforward as we want it to be. So we fixed that. Also, the other thing that I can show you in a sec is that we added so when you have a role, you could only add, like, let's say one Google document to one role before. And now you can add multiple so you can select each document to add or each reward to add to each role. That's also minor. It feels like it should have been already in it, but somehow, we just put that in there. So the two things is when you're adding a role, but first of all, look how cool this is. It's animating, it's changing, it's insane. A very cute little button. But the add reward was not called reward, and it was preset to be a Discord server. So we're leaving Discord past or behind us as much as we can. And this is one of the advancements in that direction. So when you're clicking the add reward, when you're adding a new role, you can also choose, this is the other one that I mentioned, when you can choose an already added reward to this new role, or you can just browse all the other integrations that we have and add rewards from there. So that's that. Ooh. And wait, how can I make this? Okay. The last one here in our little improvements from last week is that Google Drive, I think what I kind of mentioned in the bigger, big tech, big corp stories a minute ago. So we had some authentication issues, and a lot of users had to request access, and it was not a vibe. It did not give the automation and the smooth user flow that we really wanted, but we found the workaround, and now the status update is solved. So if any of you have still issues with having to ask for a request in the Guild Maxi group or wherever in other communities, the solution is that you probably joined that guild before we had the status update. So you have to either unfollow and then refollow guild to change the requirements and get a refreshment, or you have to leave the guild and then re-enter the guild. And usually that solves the problem. But for new users, this is not even an existing thing anymore. So that's great. Okay, for this week, what we have planned is that we're fixing the GitHub permission issues, which it wasn't really an issue, but GitHub has a very as a basic offering, they have a more strict, or how do I word this nicely? So when you're authenticating with GitHub, it asks for a ton of permission, not just read access, but write access as well to your repos. And that's not really good. And we got that feedback from a few of the community members, and it's a very good feedback because we didn't actually want to pursue that either. So we are working on that the admin, not only the main admin can choose the repos to gate, and also that the authentication doesn't ask for as much permissions as it did before. The second one is for this week is that you can, when you're picking out a new reward, when you're adding a new reward, which we just looked at a minute ago, you can select. So we're tackling the user flow, the requirements, roles, and rewards user flow from all the different angles. And this is just from the perspective of coming from starting as adding a requirement and then selecting roles that these, so who can get access to that requirement or that reward that you just set. I hope I'm not being too confusing, but we'll see. I hope you guys can have some questions by the end of this. I'm almost through, so we'll start collecting them. And then the last one that we have for this week as a improvement focus is that when you're adding a Google document as a reward or a Google file as a reward for the role, you can now have both a reader and a writer access within one guild. So when you have your guild, you have your roles in it, and then you've added a Google file as a reward. And now you can have different roles, have different permissions for that same document, and you can set that with a really nice UX. So that's another focus that we fixed this week to make it smoother, very nice. And I think we can digress into the state of the launch. I'll have one sip of water because I've been talking for 20 minutes straight. And I'll also look at the Twitter Spaces. Ooh, Hello, everybody. Awesome. Okay. So kind of like a reset, this community call is more about the sudden occurrences and bugs and improvements that we did last week. And now we're moving on to the state of the launch so that how everything from coming out with the new features last week, how is it going? How's the publication going? How the communication and everything, and what we're I'm going to say a little bit about what we're planning in the next 2 weeks as well. But we're going to have a community call next week, I think, as well. So we'll keep you in the loop. Okay. So the first thing that came up with the launch that I want to update you about, which I think was very interesting, and me being the more communications person on the team, this is heavily my ground. So what was great is that we could keep up the consistent communication, which is gold star for us because that has been a struggle for us all this time before with every announcement and every launch and everything. So that's been great. And the post that we had for announcements had pretty good. Can you mute yourself, please? So the announcement went pretty well. We stayed consistent. High five. But we also have quite an inbound of new projects or partner projects that we already have. They're looking for deepening the partnerships because of the launch, which is super nice. But I do have to say that we do not have an expected big increase in our user base or like guild members because I would say it's because this is like a mini PR session for you guys. But so how we published is we had an article, we had a thread, and we also obviously utilized our already existing network for sharing this information and retweeting and everything. But what this does is that the launch, everything went well, but it only went well within our already existing circles and had very little effect outside of that circle. So that is a big lesson. So you have to not only focus on your warm and hot communication methods and alleyways, but you have to also focus more, or we have to focus next time and moving forward on the colder side. So how do we get this information in front of people who have never heard about Guild and never, like, barely know what token gating is or access management of this level is? So that's a good lesson for us. And I hope it is a good lesson for you too if you're planning to announce anything in the future. It was very interesting, especially that, it's only been 1 week, but still it's a good like KPI or something to measure to get a little bit better at that. I think I also brought a picture. Yes, I did. Haha. I also brought a picture of this is the last 7 days of our user base growth. I know it's going up. It's really nice. I have no issues with it, but I just wanted to show you how when we did the announcement, it was very magical that we had almost precisely 150,000 registered users at Guild. And since then we only grew the user base, because after the announcement only grew about about 8,000, which is very close to what we're doing without big launches or big announcements anyway. So that's an interesting thing to look at, and I'm going to reevaluate the communications and our like announcement flows and everything. Great. Okay. More about the state of the launch. There is a new article that we just announced yesterday. It appeared in Forefront, which I co-authored with a great friend, Jihad. It's about platformless quests, and it's less about Guild, but it's kind of very, very aligned with the Guild mission and what these new integrations allow, which is this like combining not only the assets you hold, but the actions you do on the internet to allow for these very unique user journeys to be able to come into existence. And so that not only the platforms that you can't only have the platforms that you have already used and have the data that you produce there as by using that platform, but also utilizing all the credentials and all the actions that you took on the internet to gain access and rewards to different things, and just embark on this big internet journey and connect more platforms to one another and put the community and put people in the center again and just have the cool tech connecting them and making this possible. So that's a cool article. If you guys want to read, I'll probably reshare it in the Stage Text channel. Or Dorina, if you could please share in the Stage Text channel so that they can save it if they'd like. Yep. One more is that this week we're going more public about the Guild Quest, because so far, even though so many of you are already on it with the Guild Grower and Guild Maxi role, we have not made any public outside of our community announcement about it. So we're just starting that next week, or this week, sorry. We're announcing it tomorrow, and we'll see how much more inbound we get from that. I would be very interested to show more new guild newbies what this experience of connecting platforms and not only using tokens but also social activity and other engagements to gate channels and gain access to different things actually feels like. So this will be very interesting for this week and moving forward. And then next week we'll add more steps to the quest so that it actually still remains fun and more like a treasure hunt and ongoing discovery element and not just this like one-time thing, because that is the purpose of this, is that this is an ongoing journey between you and us and the whole guild community. We just go on this together and have fun and earn cool micro rewards and just hang out and get to know each other more. That's also really 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 wholesome and nice and cute. And before I go over to more of like the EMA side of things, what other things that we're also becoming a little bit more vocal about, aside from the Guild Quest that we haven't talked about yet publicly, is the Guild for Growth narrative, which I think I've already published the video to you guys that I recorded about it. But essentially how Guild with these integrations is not only useful for access management, but creating these whole onboarding journeys and user flows and whatnot. But in different point of views, it's also very useful for growth and engagement. And this is essentially becoming this growth and engagement tool for communities. It's like a big growth hack that you can reward people for following you or having this shared social identity of emojis in our name. Like I check who retweeted, for example, the announcement post that we did with the Guild account. And I check who retweeted, and it's quite, well, luckily like 20 something or 40 something. I don't know. It was like quite a big number. But when I was scrolling through the names, it was so nice to just see all the little castles in their people's names. And it was, having this shared identity and using Guild for Growth has been very wholesome and very good. So I recommend other communities to do that. And we're partnering with a few other projects in the space that would benefit a lot from this. And by partnering, I mean, we're just suggesting this heavily and they like it, and then we help them set this up. So that's the level of partnership I'm talking about here. And the last thing is that you guys know we have our SDK live and it's out and it's about. It's still doing pretty well, and it's getting about 400 downloads per week, I think. But what is, I think, fairly interesting, which I thought would not be the case, is that there's still not a lot of actual like fun use cases utilizing the SDK. It's not like, so this is a lot of downloads for a smaller project that we still are. And even though that's the case, we still do not see all these like very cool integrations happening and evolving, which I don't know. I don't know what to feel about it, but we're working on it on our evolving BD capabilities. So that I hope is going to change. But if you are listening and you like to use Guild functionality in your own application or website or whatever you had just to gate your newsletter or gate your Telegram group, the Guild SDK is up for grabs and it's free. So we'd love to see more and more things being integrated in the Guild ecosystem with the SDK. And it's going to be fun. We'll probably have more, maybe we'll do a workshop around the SDK as well. Tomorrow we're having the POAP workshop, I think. Right, Bernard? Are we having that? He might not be here. Okay. Anyway, we'll keep you posted about the POAP workshop, but we're planning to do an SDK workshop as well, so that it's more apparent what is it good for, or kind of like a walkthrough for more of a dev related audience to know what the SDK is cool for and kind of help with the documentation and everything. And as a closing, I just have a little bit of gratitude here. I'd like to thank you so much for the nonstop support and the testing and the showing up, especially. It means so much to the whole team. And yes, it's been since the launch, something happened and it's been even crazier. And I'm very, very grateful for all of you. It's been great. And I also want to thank you for, it's very visible that you guys help a ton in the server, in the groups, suggesting Guild and also helping others who have issues and questions about Guild. It's been a great help, and it's very heartwarming to see that, because it's been such a long time since we started having this Discord, and it was the goal to, I don't know, it was always a goal of mine, or I just envisioned that it would be so nice to have such an involved and incentivized community that you like hanging out there. Supporting is not your job, but you do it because you like it. And I can't believe that happened. It's so nice. And it doesn't mean, it's no commitment at all, but I'm just very grateful for it. So thank you so much. And then, Venpo app. I just put this here because I think, if I know correctly, we do have a POAP for this call as well. Right, Arina?
Yes, I'm dropping it in a sec.
Okay. So I know that we're probably not gonna use the button for distributing that. So yes, let me know how that goes, or just direct us into what we need to do. Hello? Okay, we'll wait that out. In the meantime, anybody have questions? I know it's a pretty big, it turned out to be a pretty big community call, and it's kind of, it could be overwhelming. If you wouldn't speak, then you could also text it in the text channel. And then I can just read it out. I'm looking at the text channel now, the stage text now, so we can make that happen.
Yeah, and even we can use a POAP button as well because it's working. So the Discord fixed the issue for interest. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, CJ. Awesome. Then while we're waiting for the POAP button to appear here, do you also want to do maybe should we do a temporary text channel where, Dorina, can you put the POAP button there?
I tried to send it, but it's still processing the process, so...
Where did you send it?
To the stage text.
Sorry? Okay.
So I guess we have to wait, yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to do any funky business with the temporary text channels, okay?
Sorry.
Awesome. One question. After getting Maxi role, can we disconnect the bot from our Telegram? Is that safe? Well, if you disconnect your Telegram from Guild, then it won't work, I think. It's just gonna, if you disconnect your social accounts from Guild, and that social account or having that social account is a requirement, or it is part of a reward, if the reward is a Telegram group and you disconnect your Telegram, the bot's gonna kick you out. Fairly simple. The bot is very ruthless, which is good and bad. It sounds bad, but it's a really good quality for a bouncer to have. which is the lovely little Guildbot. Also, I dig how cute of an emoji we chose, or this pixel art that we chose for the Guildbot. It's like this very cute little chunky robot, and even though it's such a cute little chunky robot, it still kicks you out really ruthlessly. So that's love it. That's lovely. Okay. I think. Yeah. What's up with the pull-up button situation? Should we wait for it, or should we? What's up?
I think we need to wait for a couple of minutes. We are having some issues, but we are on it.
Okay. Cool. And in the meantime, I did not bring any like afterthoughts, so I'm just gonna get real awkward with you guys. But it's been a very exciting week. We are tired as heck. We tried our best. I think the launch is doing well. It's not over, since it's not like a one-time thing. This is a complete narrative change and big new audience discovery situation. It's a lot of planning. Oh, we have another question. Any more details on the POAP workshop? So the plan is that we do have a new integration with POAP that I think we already kind of like off-leaked to you guys, but we still tested all of that in the previous weeks with some bigger communities. It worked really, really well. So we want to teach you guys or show you firsthand how to do that and how to start utilizing that and start dropping POAPs in your communities. So on the details of the whens, it's going to be in our server, but on the details of the whens, Bernard's going to come back a little bit later, and we'll keep you posted. We also really want to have the POAP team join us. So we'll schedule it and we'll let you know. But it's probably going to be like around this time. I think it's around the same time. Patricio is a legend from POAP. Absolutely agree. Also, in the same time, while I was talking about POAP, we did get the claim POAP button, so you guys can claim it. And I don't know how much we minted. Did we mint enough? Because there's so many of you already. Again, we have to prepare more. There's so many of you. Okay, got a POAP. It worked for me. It's only 150. Okay, so you gotta be up on it. How do we have? Okay, so just for everybody in the Twitter Spaces that not in the Discord, we have 471 people in the event stage. Just terrifying. I did not think that it's. Is it because of the POAP? Is it a good incentive? Should we be giving out more POAPs? Maybe. Ooh. Okay, awesome. You got your reward. Thank you so much for joining. I'm scrolling a little bit more here for questions, but okay. Dorian, did you collect any perchance during that I might have missed?
No, I think you got them all. And meanwhile, in the text, some of the team members answered the questions, so I think we are good.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay. I said a lot of things. I hope it wasn't too confusing. I tried to have a little bit of structure to it. And I hope you liked my terrific design for the slides. I'm trying to amp up my game because my slides are usually fugly. But okay, perfect. Thank you so much for coming. And if and when we have the POAP workshop tomorrow, I think it's about the same time, but we'll keep you posted. We'll have an announcement in a little bit in the server. And thank you so much for joining. And as always, stay this cute. You guys are amazing. And hugs. So see you next time.